What's up everyone, this is CoyneDawg here with another GTA video. So in this video we're going to be having a look at the head-to-head series again, and today we've got the Tyrus versus the ETR1. So first up we've got the 2 mile drag race, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, is just a 2 mile long straight to test the acceleration of these vehicles, and then they normally get up to the top speed just after the last checkpoint. So I was quite interested to see the results of these two cars, because obviously they are from the Cunning Stunts update last summer. They're obviously both got downforce, they're both rear wheel drive, they're both more designed for high speed cornering than any sort of straight line performance or anything like that. We saw with the RE7B as well, that it got the fastest lap around one of the tracks, but on this particular test it was just an average speed. I was quite surprised to see how big the difference was between these two cars though, so as you can see already the Tyrus is quite a long way ahead of the ETR1. So you can see straight away that the Tyrus has definitely got much better acceleration than the ETR1 has. So in terms of the difference on that short section, so the Tyrus was near enough a second quicker than the ETR1, so that gets a little trophy for the first test. So the second test we've got is Bridging the Gap, which is a bumpy street circuit with mainly low speed cornering rather than high speed. So this circuit, obviously, as I said before, these two cars have both got downforce, which is mainly a benefit through high speed corners, so there isn't a lot of that on here. There's a few, like that first corner, but these cars, both of them, even though they're rear wheel drive and all that, they are very planted through these corners. You can put your finger down on the accelerator a lot earlier coming out of many of these corners than you can with some of the other cars we've been testing recently. So I'm pretty impressed with both of them, to be honest. There is some high speed areas on the track as well, like this section here, and I think that was where the Tyrus really did well, because its cornering ability is similar to the ETR1. I would say the ETR1 is a little bit more planted and better through the corners, but the Tyrus, obviously, with that acceleration that we saw from the previous test, it really did benefit from that in the higher speed sections of this track and coming out of corners. And I think that's, as I said before, because the ETR1's acceleration was so poor, because this track is full of slower speed corners on the whole, you're obviously scrubbing off a hell of a lot of your speed to go through some of these corners. The ETR1 would then take a lot of time to build that speed back up, whereas the Tyrus, it would pick it up a lot quicker. But as I said, the ETR1's cornering ability, it felt a lot more planted, but I don't know whether that's because it's just not going quite as quick as the Tyrus in terms of the actual speed that the car is doing, or whether it has actually got more grip, and the downforce statistic perhaps helps it a little bit more. But yeah, it's an interesting one, to be honest. I'm not really sure. I think if the ETR1 had been given a little bit more acceleration, it's similar to the Penetrator from the last test that we did last week, where the Penetrator was very good around the corners, but its acceleration really let it down, which made it an average car. And I think the ETR1 is in a similar situation where it could have been right up there with the top 6 or 7 supercars, but instead, because of that acceleration deficit that it's got, it's just an okay supercar rather than one of the very best. So in terms of the lap times that they got on this track, so the Tyrus was, well, call it 7/10 of a second quicker than the ETR1 around this circuit. So it's quite a significant difference, to be honest. And then the last test that we've got in this video is Docked Points, which is a smooth stunt piece circuit with mainly mid to high speed corners. So obviously this is now going to play more towards the strengths of these two vehicles, with lots of high speed cornering that the downforce really does help with. So again, first up we've got the Tyrus, and as soon as I took this on his first lap, I knew straight away that it was going to do well. That corner there that comes around there, a lot of the other cars you have to brake like well before you get anywhere near the apex, whereas both of these cars, and I found it with the RE7B as well, you can take so much more speed through there and brake really late with them. Both of these cars, by the way, have quite similar braking performance through that section there, the S section. So these cars both were quite well planted. I felt that the Tyrus could carry more speed through that section. The turning on the Tyrus is quite a lot more responsive than the ETR1 in my experience. That's probably the thing that the Tyrus does feel a little bit weird to drive. It's got some, I don't know, it feels detached from the road, if that makes sense. You don't feel like you're really driving the car. You can't really feel what's going on a lot of the time, which I guess is a bit of a downside to the vehicle, similar to the Penetrator last week, which I said the same thing about. And then the ETR1 So you know, once again, the high speed cornering that you'll see through here, so you can see there how late I can brake for that section, which is quite unique to the cars with downforce, to how late you can brake on those corners. But again, because this is a high speed track, the ETR does lose out on all these fast sections here. So it goes quite well through here, not as well as the Tyrus did, but it does lose out a lot on these fast sections, which is just a real shame. And I know I said it before in the previous video, but it is really the thing I learned most by doing this video was how the ETR1 could have been a much better car if they'd just given it that little bit more acceleration. And I think it's a shame, to be honest, because it's a nice car apart from that. So yeah, so in terms of the lap times, as you probably predicted with that now, the Tyrus got a 59.947, which is a very quick time. That's like the 4th quickest I've done so far, and the ETR1 got a 1.01001. So that for this test, that means that the Tyrus has won. It got a clean sweep of all 3 wins, which is quite unusual. I think we only had that happen once before. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll be back again in a couple of days' time with another video.